Alright gang, welcome back to our Vanilla Survival Challenge with the twist here on Maypole Farm. It is now November, and a couple things we're going to be doing today. One, I talked about getting rid of the trees over here, and that is more than likely going to be happening today. If it doesn't, we can always do it another day. But a very exciting thing was pointed out to me by one of my members, Ryan Jackson. Thank you very much for that. So before, I was talking about the fence line here and the tree line with it, right? And I was saying that, I attempted to try to remove the fence and it didn't work. I must have did something wrong because Ryan, as correctly stated, told me you should try it again because it should work. And I tested it out off camera and it did actually work. So I don't know what I was doing wrong beforehand, but there should be a pole somewhere in here. Here we go. If I come into here, this pole, and I just, cut it like you're supposed to, there you go. It removes a chunk of that fence. Now, it doesn't remove the whole fence, obviously, but it removes a chunk of the fence. And, yeah, that means we can pick this up, too, and we can carry this over to the sawmill and make a little bit of extra money on it. But, nonetheless, we are able to get rid of that fence if we want to. I'm not sure I'm going to get rid of the entirety of the fence. I obviously got rid of that one. Didn't really need to, but I did get rid of that one. But it does give us that opportunity to get rid of them. So that means some of these ones that are kind of stuck in the fence here, we can just remove the fence itself and they should fall on the ground and then we should be able to move them, right? Obviously, maybe we can go a different, a route, like, going on this side and trying to pick them up. It might let us do it. Who knows? But nonetheless, it is possible. So that is a good thing for us to know. Secondly, used market-wise, not anything out there. It's still basically the same stuff you saw last time. We might potentially get this harvester. I had a bit of a discussion with a couple of the members on the channel who had early access to last episode's video, and was talking about at the end of the episode how, if I was to purchase, for example, this is probably the one we're going to purchase, but an example, if I was to buy this land here, and I sold some of these buildings, I would make, some of the money back, if not more than the money it cost for the entire piece of land, right? The piece of land itself is only $53,000. So if I sold this, that's 24. If I sold a couple other big ones, I don't know. Maybe this one's not as. Yeah, I guess this one's not as strong as the other one. But an example of that would be over here, right? If I was to buy this land, which is super cheap, and I sold this, it's $87,000. The land itself for that one is $39,000. So I'd make almost 50 grand there. But anyway, we had a discussion about it, and it comes with the land, right? So I should be allowed to sell it. It's not really about how much the land costs. If that's what they want to sell the land for, that's what they want to sell the land for, right? So we're going to allow ourselves to do that. Now, it might make it a little bit easier for us here for a little while. So if we need to, we'll bump the difficulty up, etc., right? But I do think it's going to help us overall by going this approach with being able to, well, quite frankly, being able to get the equipment that we're going to need to do a lot of the stuff we want to do here. So, I was kind of going back and forth. Like, I really like this piece of land here. It's a smaller piece of land, but, I'm kind of leaning more towards this one. There's a couple of reasons for it. One, if we buy this land, there's stuff on here we're going to keep, obviously. I might even keep the pigsty. I haven't fully made the decision on that if I'm going to keep that one or not. I would get rid of the cow area here, but we could also have a chance to purchase this land. Now, we probably don't want to purchase it right now, but we could. And what that means is we could remove a couple of these fences, as I just showed you, build a bit of a track, probably take away a little bit of the land here, or a little bit of the field here, build a bit of a track, and then take away this one here, and then we have easy access to get to this field as well, without having to drive through the road, through all the traffic, which, speaking of that, I don't think I turned the traffic back on yet, did I? I did not. So let's turn the traffic back on, now that we're done with the tree stuff. So, yeah, it's pretty promising, I think, to go that approach. Now, I'm not sure how much does it cost to buy both of these. 56 for that and 53 for that. So, I mean, it's not cheap, right? It's not a cheap thing, but yeah. Okay, so this field comes with the cow barn. Okay, so that cow barn's not even something that we would get if we were to purchase this land here. So let's think this through for a minute. Realistically, bunker silo, I don't think I would need that. So there's 22,000 there. 20. So there's 5. There's another 5. So 32. So 42-ish. We're gonna get just for selling this quadrant right here. Stainless steel fertilizer tank. I don't think I'd want this one, so there's another 24. So yeah, we'd make more than the amount that's there, right? I think I'd keep this. I would obviously keep this. I don't know how many of these I would keep. I'd probably keep these and probably get rid of these. Just gives a little bit more room to maneuver in here as well. Then I'd have to make a decision pretty strongly about the pigsty here and on if I want to keep that or not. Well, if I buy it. That's a piece of land. So that pigsty does come with us. Just the land's not there. Well, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe the pigsty you can't really see it. That thing's in the way. But I think it comes with the pigsty, this 137. So, yeah. Let's buy it. Let's buy it. All right, we now own this, which is fantastic. And we're going to get rid of stuff, like I mentioned. I don't need all of these sheds. Maybe we will eventually, but I'll probably put down some different ones. So let's get rid of this. All right, there's some money back. Like I said, I'm probably going to keep these. I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to keep this in case I decide to keep the pigsty whenever we do buy the pigsty, I should say. We haven't bought it yet, but whenever we do. I think for the time being, I'm going to keep the liquid fertilizer tank. I'm not sure if we're actually going to end up keeping it. I'm tempted to keep this building, actually. So that made us a little bit of money. I'm relatively happy with that. I feel like that's enough. I mean, we don't even have any equipment right now, right? But I feel like that's sufficient. I don't ever do pigs. I'm kind of leaning towards doing pigs in this playthrough. A couple reasons for that, I guess. I can buy this, and I can get rid of this, which would give us some land. We could turn... Well, that gives us a ton of money. Holy smokes. See, like, this just... I don't know. Part of it just seems wrong. It seems unrealistic. But anyway, it would give us a big chunk of land, a big piece of land here, which I would turn into a crop field. I understand it's not the flattest thing in the world, but, I mean, there's other fields that are doing the same thing, so it should be fine. Yeah. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. We're going to buy it. Now, there's not... It's November, so there's not really anything we can put in the ground today anyway. So really all we're doing now is just going to be buying land and then maybe plowing the land up, preparing it, right? If you will. So, yeah. That just made us a ton of money. Okay, I don't own that one. Okay, interesting. I thought I would have owned that, but I don't. But that gives you a ton of space. It just opens up this whole area big time, right? So I'm kind of leaning on towards buying this and keeping it. I'm going to... Yeah, let's do it. Let's try to do a little pig action in this series, since I don't ever do pigs. That gives us the opportunity to do so. We've got a lot of money now, though, which is good. We might be able to buy that harvester. As a matter of fact, we probably will buy that harvester now at this point. Kind of seems pointless to not at this point, right? It's a great harvester, it really is. I'm just going to go standard wheels. I don't need twin wheels on this. 141, 219. It's expensive, but we're going to buy it anyway. So we don't necessarily need to get rid of those trees now that we decided to go this approach, right? We don't need to get rid of those trees anymore. Yeah. Yeah, I think this is going to work out well for us. I think this is going to work out well. So, I'm going to keep everything else as it is for the time being. Maybe we get rid of this fertilizer. Maybe. But for now, we're going to keep it a pretty stacked up area here now, right? And the rest of this money is really going to be tried to... Not even tried. We're really going to probably utilize... you know, from the perspective of buying equipment, because it's going to cost an outrageous amount of money. We talked about that, right? We got all this extra money now, which is wonderful, but yeah, the price of the things we're going to be purchasing here are they're not cheap. Let's put it that way. So we need to get the header, first of all, for our harvester, which this is the one we purchased. So we've got a couple options here. What are we going to be putting in first? We've got a planter. I guess it depends on if we're going to be doing corn, sunflowers, soybeans, sorghum. You know, what are we actually doing here with the planter? The planter can do canola too, I think, right? So what's the first thing that's going to be popping up here? Corn and oat, which you can't do, I don't think. Sunflowers. Yeah, so sunflowers, soybeans, sorghum, or corn. I'm kind of leaning pretty heavily on this series to doing corn, I think. But I got to think about the pigs, right? I got to think about the pigs. So, now I could always just buy pig food, right? We could always go that approach. I'm not going to put any animals in today. We're not going to be doing animals for a while. But once we get enough fields going, then maybe we can start working on that. So that's the reason why I'm going to keep the pigsty for the time being. Yeah. Let's go heavy on corn for the time being. Let's go heavy on corn. So, if we go here and we go back to here, we want a corn header. 9-meter width is massive, but it folds up, which is pretty nice. But so does this one. It's a 6-meter width. I almost feel like the 6-meter is going to be plenty for what we're probably going to be doing in this series. Now, granted, this is a big field, don't get me wrong, but most of the fields on this series are not massive. And a 9-meter header on this we'd be done with this in seconds, which nothing wrong with that, but I think we're going to buy this 6-meter for the time being, and then maybe we upgrade to this one later on. Still leaves us a good chunk of change, which is great, but we've got to buy other stuff that we don't have. So we've got a tractor now, which is wonderful. We don't have a trailer, so we need to buy a trailer. I want to buy something different than what we normally buy. One of these I think would be wonderful to have. These are from the Highlands Fishing expansion. We haven't used either one of these yet. I don't know which one I like better. 26. This one has the ability to do 39. I kind of like the smaller version of it, which probably isn't the most realistic thing to say, but I do like that one, I think. I don't need the cover. I'm going to put a trailer hitch on it because we might want to get a second one of these at some point. I actually don't mind the bunning blue. I think that's kind of a cool looking blue, so we're going to leave it. Even though it doesn't really match everything else we're doing, that's okay. Doesn't necessarily need to, though. We're matching on almost every other series, so we don't really necessarily need a match on this series. I like wide tires. All of you know that, so we're going to go and spend the extra money on the wide tires there. As a matter of fact, I want Michelin's. Sorry. I thought I already had flipped it to Michelin, but I didn't. Alright, so there's no wide tire on Michelin, evidently. So Trailerborg's the only one that gives you the option for wide tires. Alright, we'll go with the Trailerborgs. 47,250. Not cheap. That's what I'm talking about. This stuff is not cheap. There are some things in here that are a little bit cheaper, but they're much smaller, right? This is why I'm saying, you know, I'm getting all this money, which is great. It may seem a little bit like we're cheating the challenge here in an extent, but when you start buying all this stuff, you realize I'm not really, gang. I'm really not. Because we don't have a plow yet, which we're probably going to go with one of the standard type of plows that we would normally go with, but the problem with that would be is we don't have those. So, we've got to use one of these other plows, which is not really the most ideal situation for us, right? So, our tractor currently has, what, like almost 200 horsepower, I think? It's not even that much horsepower. So, it's going to take us a while, right? 230. A little more than I thought. So, 230 is what we've got to deal with here, plow-wise. It's not going to give us a whole lot. 4.2 meter is not actually that bad. It's better than I thought it was going to be. But I really dislike these plows, so this is going to be a fun one, man. This is going to be a fun one for me. Having to utilize these is going to be a struggle for me, personally. Slated mold boards versus universal mold boards. Those slated ones are kind of cool. I don't think I've ever used those. Let's go for those. We're already down to under 100,000, gang. Of all that money we had, we're already down to 100,000. We don't have everything we need still. We've got the planter, which is great. We've got the plow. We've got the harvester. We got the trailer. But we still need, I mean, you're going to need a fertilizer spreader. We're going to need a roller at some point. Obviously, that doesn't have to be an immediate thing, but the fertilizer spreader is going to need to be something immediately. Sprayer or weeder or, you know, hoe or something. We're going to need all that. There's a lot. There's a lot still. And look how expensive this stuff is. Look how expensive this is. I mean, I can get this one, which maybe that's what I should get, but we probably want one that can do lime, right? I mean, we're gonna be using all this money before we know it. I don't necessarily have to buy it right now, but all this money is gonna be gone before we know it. It's all gonna be gone. It's absolutely insanity how expensive it is with you trying to use the vanilla game and trying to play a challenge like this. It's absolute insanity. So we got very, very lucky with this map. If we were on like a standard, you know, Giants map, a vanilla map, good luck. Good luck trying to do this challenge. I guess what I'm trying to get at is, you know, we got all that extra money, which I kind of agreed with my members when they said that that's what we should do. That it should be allowed if we buy the land and it's on it. There shouldn't be a rule or something saying we can't remove that stuff, even though if it makes you more money. If we didn't do that, gang, I mean, we would be struggling, right? We'd have to get smaller than what we got here, which, okay, first of all, I've already screwed up here. Am I going to be able to turn around here? I don't think I'm going to be able to turn around here. Because it's going to tell me I can't go through this fence. Yep. Wonderful. This is not a good thing. Just hold your horses there, Byron. Hold your horses, buddy. I should have serviced this before we left, and we're not that far away, so I'm going to try to service this really quick. But really, I wanted to find a turnaround spot, but I'm not really... I got to go pretty much all the way back to the shop here to get the turnaround spot, but whatever. So, anyway, oh, here we go. This is going to be a disaster. Here we go. Here we go. I'm about to turn traffic off again here in a minute, I think. I should be able to go past him on this side, though. Just backing up. Will you stop it, Alfred? Holy cow. Okay, so what was I talking about? So anyway, I mean, we've got stuff now, which is great, but we're still not out of the woods, right? We've got a lot to do. I could get a smaller harvester than this. That's where I was going with it. I could get a smaller harvester than this. I absolutely 100% could. 100%. And probably we'd be a little bit better off money-wise. 100%. But it's hard to pass it up when we did gain that kind of money when it's here. Where is the trigger at? I swear I'm on the trigger. I swear it's right here. All right, evidently I'm just completely missing where the trigger is, evidently. Yes, I was. Okay, I can't even yell at him. That was me. All right, there we go. Okay, so we got to get the case back. We got to come up here and get the rest of this stuff back, which it's going to take a minute, right? We've got to get the plow back. We've got to get the trailer back. We'll probably start today with doing our smaller field first. Plowing that up first, I should say. That's the one we started the series with. I think we're going to go that approach, and then we'll work on the other field that is over there in the land we just purchased, right? We've got plenty of time to do all of this. We can do multiple episodes in the same month on this series, so there's no real concern here. We're in the winter months anyway, so it's not that big of a deal. Now, even though we just bought a bunch of land here, we really only have 2 fields right now, right? And we're going to run out of this money pretty quickly here. So, we're probably not going to be able to buy another field. That's what I'm trying to get at. Maybe we could buy one more, maybe, depending on what we do with the fertilizer spreader and etc. Maybe we can purchase one more. I think a 3rd field would be ideal. Now, granted, we've got a small field, and now we're going to, once we're done, obviously, we're going to have a large field as well. But another small field, I think, would be super ideal for this situation. But let's get all this stuff back. It's going to take us a minute. So let's get all this stuff back and put away. All right, that took a little bit of time, but it wasn't terrible. We're going to go ahead and start creating a field here now with the plow. I've got it set up as good of a spot as I can possibly make it in the current situation for it. Now, I talked about that this is going to be probably a bit of a struggle for me because I normally don't use these type of plows. I don't really like them normally. I like the ones where they're just the pull behind ones, but obviously the pull behind ones are a little bit more unrealistic than this is. So, yeah, you know, we'll make it through, but it just may not be the most elegant thing that you've ever seen. Let's put it that way. I'm going to pick this up real quick. I'm just going to kind of throw this out of the way for the time being. We will eventually move that over there to the sawmill, but we're just going to get it out of the way for the time being. I'm going to try to keep this as close as I can to not being too close, if that makes sense. It is getting pretty close right now, as it is now that I say that, but yeah. We're going to see how we get along here. We're trying to keep the field pretty close to the fence, but hopefully not as close as I've been making it so far. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is this is probably not going to be the best work you've ever seen about doing a field, just based solely on the fact that I'm not used to using these things at all. I never ever use them this way because I don't really like them. But for this series, we kind of have to. It's kind of where we're at. So if I can just get the plow turned in the proper way here, then we'll be in a better spot. I guess that's going to have to do. So really my goal here is I want to get this field done today, hopefully, and then we'll work on the other field that we kind of purchased that we're going to have to turn into a field as well, I guess is what I should say. The other grass field that we purchased, we're going to work on that, turning that into a crop field as well. And I'm going to be a little bit careful here on the edge of the road here. We don't want to get this too close. And what you see here is not going to be perfect. It's just simply not going to be, so Don't expect it to be. It's not going to be a perfect square or rectangle or whatever. It's going to have some different angles and sides to it, and that's fine. For the most part, it should still do the trick that we're looking for, right? Just want to make sure I give myself plenty of room from the edge of the road there. I don't want to get too close, especially if we eventually, later on in the series here, decide to start utilizing workers. They get a little bit too close and they have issues. And it might already be too close to these light posts here. That might already be a little bit too close, but... Alright, watch out, cars. I'm backing up here. We're going to try to align this properly again. Still don't really have it aligned properly. I think the problem that with these, and the reason I don't really like them, is that it's really difficult for you to get, to create a field that's perfect, if that makes sense. You're going to have issues going across the way. Like, it's going to have areas like that where it's just not set up properly. Like, I'm going to have to do some different maneuvers, if you will, to try to get it, which in turn means doing what I'm doing now, which is switching the way the plow is facing, to try to make this work. Now, you might be saying to yourself, and I've already said it before, that, we built all of this yard area over here, and we're probably not going to be utilizing it a whole lot. Well, we will be. Maybe not right here off the bat, but we will be. Eventually, once we own some more land, as I mentioned before, right, the goal is going to be that this field might have something a little bit more specific, and whatever is very specific in this field, I'm not going to give anything else away other than that. I've got some ideas for it, which I'm sure you could figure out by process of elimination, but regardless, I've got some ideas potentially for this field in the future. But for right now, we just need to figure out some ways to actually get some money pumping in so we can actually get all of the equipment we absolutely 100% need, and then, quite frankly, after that, be able to buy enough land where we can actually start to do something like what I'm planning to do here. Now, once we have it in a decent area, I might be able to just kind of, do some corners down here and then not necessarily have to do what I'm doing now. But early on here, we're going to have to do this just to get things set properly. And, yeah, we're already kind of stuck here. So it's going to be a struggle, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it. Alright, I think I can go ahead and turn this off now. We've got a basis of an outline here of a field done. I just need to not be looking for perfection as far as the corners and everything go. I think I'm just going to have to deal with and understand that there's going to be some rough edges here. My brain doesn't work that way very often when it comes to this kind of stuff. It kind of... I don't really specifically have it, but I feel like I do sometimes. A bit of like an OCD kind of comes into play, right? Just doesn't look right, it doesn't feel right, and I want to fix it, and sometimes it's just really difficult to do with some of this equipment that they give you. I'll try to fix this a little bit right here. That should have taken care of that, I think. And there's a little section right here in the middle of that plowed area there that we missed, so we'll just touch that up, and now we can go ahead and realign it. I'm going to turn this the other way. Alright, you know what? This is just becoming an absolute disaster, so let's just do a turn. It's pretty amazing to see, you know, how far we've come already in this series. Like, this whole area was covered in trees. You couldn't even see probably 20 feet in front of you because of the density of the little tiny forest here was. And it's now completely gone and looks completely different. Incredible transformation in a very fast period of time, honestly. The big problem here is going to be that, you know, we've got a planter, so we're going to have to plow this every single time, which, fine. I don't necessarily know if I want to plow it every single time, but fine, we can do it. Just not really something I was hoping to have to do, but we are going to have to do it. So I'm going to have to get better at this. I'm going to have to get used to it. And the only way to get better at things is to continue to do it, right? I've said that many times on this channel. Some people ask, well, why don't you just use auto loads for certain things, right, when it's a series that, you know, allows that type of stuff. And you're right, we can, and we do, but the only way to get better at things is to keep on doing it. So sometimes I'm willing to sacrifice a bit of ease of use to get better at it, right? This series specifically, is going to force me to get better with the pull behind plows. A couple quick notes. I don't know if I specifically talked about it in full transparency. I'm doing this episode in 2 different settings, but recently, I don't think it was the last episode, but a couple episodes ago, people were saying, you know, the reason why, you know, the tractor was having issues before you upgraded this one is you just didn't have a weight or front weight and, you know, etc., wheel weights, etc. You're right. You're 100% correct. I could have went that route, but if you look back at it, going this route and getting this tractor was actually overall better for us. It actually saved us money. We made a little bit of money off of it, and this has more horsepower than the other one does. So overall, in the long run, this is absolutely a better investment for us. Just a better overall tractor for where we were in that series. And I did like the other one. I had thought about keeping it, as we talked about a couple of times, but it was just at that point in time, and you know, factoring everything in, which I probably should have explained more than I did, I decided to go with this one. But yes, I definitely could have just bought a weight or utilized the stump grinder as a front weight, which I was doing for a while. I absolutely 100% could have done that. It's a pretty good plow, though, man. Even though I'm struggling a bit with, you know, getting used to it, it is a pretty good plow, man. It's doing everything you're asking of it to do easily, right? I'm going to try to fix up that back corner there a little bit, at least the one portion. I don't really mind the corner that's kind of been a turn there. I don't really mind that portion, but please turn back. Oh, my gosh, this thing. When you try to back this thing up, though, it is a bit of a struggle. It's only got one wheel back there, so it's very, very easy for it to not listen to what you're wanting it to do, right? It's a little bit better. Is it perfect? Nope, but it's a little bit better. We're going to have one more pass after this, and we will be done. It's just going to be a little bit of a touch-up pass. Yeah, very, very good episode. We made a hell of a lot of money. We got a lot of the equipment we needed to get. We've got some more land that we are going to be trying to process through here to turn into another field. We've got some money still in the bank, which is great. We're going to need that money for products, you know, seeds, fertilizer, etc. We're going to need it for other things we have to purchase as well. Prime example of that is, you know, a fertilizer spreader. We're going to need that relatively quicker than you might think. Okay, well, it's turned. What am I doing wrong here? Fold plow. Rotate plow. Is it supposed to be on this side? Is that what it is? I don't see any other way to do this, so it must be on this side. Yeah, it is. Okay. Well, a little weird, but that's fine. Good. All right, so now it should be a lot easier to maneuver this back to the yard. But we're going to leave the episode at this point. I hope you enjoyed it, gang. If you did, make sure you smash that like and subscribe button for me. In the case you've yet to do so, they are free. They help me out an absolute ton if you do consider doing that. Thank you to my members. Cannot thank them enough as well. There is a link down below if you're interested in that. You get early access to videos like this one, including the competitive one-tile challenge. My other channel link is down there if you want to check that out. Discord down there. Share your progress and anything you may be working on, regardless if it's a video that you've recorded and uploaded or if it's a screenshot or just a generic text message. I'd love to hear from you. I will try to reply to everyone, and I continue to try to do that. I know sometimes it takes me a couple days to get back to you. I apologize for that, but I assure you I do read every single comment fully, and I try to reply to every single one whenever I get the chance to do so. Even if it's a couple days past, you should get a reply from me at some point. We're just going to leave this outside right here because it doesn't really need to be underneath any cover, and we'll leave it at that. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for your continued support, gang. Means the world. We'll see you next time.